Okay, I did my push-ups on Sunday this week. I can't remember. It's in my log. Doesn't matter. So I already did my pushing pattern in this direction. I just want to tap into, this is going to be my accessory today. I want to tap into the horizontal adduction, adduction. I did this initially with a 1-inch band, but the truth is I don't have enough tension. I dropped it down to a 1/2 inch band, maybe 3/4 of an inch, a medium band, but I think it's 3/4 inch. This might still be too much tension. The point is, if I have my hand in this, now it's completely parallel. This is almost like your Vitruvian man position, anatomically sound position. I want it to come across my body, and already I'm feeling even this band is just way too much for that. So 3 times a charm. I'm going to drop it down to the light band because there's no sense, at least not for me at this moment, to train into a muscle that's not in the range that I'm really looking for. You know, if there's a particular part that's very weak, maybe it's weakest right, who knows? But I want to get a full range. So this is probably truly the 1/2 inch band. This is the light band. Nice and tight stomach, core, and then I pull across. And now I feel much better engagement because I feel the resistance almost immediately from the first pull. And clearly this, in front of me, this becomes the hardest position. So is it foolish to drop down a weight? No. Are you getting the range of motion you want with the heavier band? No. So stick with. Or again, ask yourself why. Why do I go to a lighter band in this instance? Well, I want to engage a full horizontal adduction, adduction into the center line, and I want to keep tension on it from the beginning. So with bands, realizing that tension only ever gets greater as you stretch the band. If I can't move it from this initial position where the resistance is the least, I can't expect to get it right in front of me. And all I'm doing is I'm working a range of motion strength here. Maybe I need that, but if I need that, I'll make that like a micro accessory exercise to find where the dead spot or the sticking spot is of an exercise. Now I really did completely lose track of this, but I feel effective. I'll just get 2 more. I think 2 more will make it for 10. For the most part, accessory exercises, you can always shoot for the higher repetitions because for the most part, they're not compounded movements. You know, they're not going to be these huge, big, bulky muscles per se. Although this is a dominant exercise into the pectoralis muscle. And there's other core musculature working. This is only one component, one line of pull. If I'm working with dumbbells, well then my arm can go in different movement patterns, but here I'm just trying to get a horizontal adduction. So I'm only strengthening the fibers that run parallel to the line of pull. And truth be told, that's what I'm looking for right now. I'm looking to attack that inner part of my pec, because I had an opportunity when I did my push-ups to attack more of the other fibers that fan away. And this just feels good. I mean, at the end of a workout, accessory work, saying I did all my compounded movements and the harder stuff is done. Let me just put the icing on the cake. Let me go to a spot where I know I want just a little extra. And these are not a waste of time if they're add-ons. They could be a complete waste of time if they're the onlys, especially if they're onlys where I'm just throwing. And the truth is, this is more of an oblique exercise there, movement-wise, than this, which is a static oblique, active pec. I don't know if you saw it in that shot also, but you can't tell me that a part of your bicep is not firing in this motion. Of course it is. Maybe even get a little bit of lat. You can get, if you come from underneath a little bit more, now you start to take some of the strain out of the chest. You put it into the lat, which is pulling the humerus closer to, not complete lat, because that's not the direction of pull that the lat really cares for, but it's still pulling it in. So just something as simple as that, the awareness. What am I trying to really target? How do I change the angle in any of these exercises? Now that really, just to show you angle, the minute I did this and I pulled across, that's really pulling on that biceps tendon. That's really engaging the bicep. Because guess where the bicep wants to go? The bicep wants to bend at the elbow. Can it really bend here if I'm pulling across? Not so much. Here it's just a slight substitute. It's helping. Still mostly the pec is what's pulling that arm across versus the top of that bicep. Okay? Again, just talking here. Just taking you through some of the why. Why do we move? Then let me show you how. What are we really trying to get here? Important questions to ask. Don't just move. Move with your mind. The body will follow. We're too evolved to just be grunters. Part of the primal aspect of us. Yes, grunt. Lift heavy things. Put heavy things down. But do it because you are working with a very smart system that all knows what to do. And why is that? Because we become so smart that we've forgotten that the body was created for certain things, and we've moved away from it. Rightfully so. Trust me, I don't want to hunt for my food. I don't want to have to walk hundreds of miles to get what it is that I have to keep me alive, simultaneously burning energy while looking for energy. This is a luxury. Training is a luxury. We have the ability to burn energy in a good way, a way that's not necessarily for survival at the moment, but it's survival for definitely the broad spectrum. Longevity, we're living longer. We lose musculature, we lose ability from the minute of life. Maybe there's a slight uptick, maybe there's that gain, right? We're gaining the ability to get out of a crib onto the feet. But then it becomes about loss. Or not. You can slow the loss. You can almost mitigate the loss to coming to a complete halt, as close to a halt as possible, diminishing that curve. And for some of us who are very lucky, maybe just that training gives us that little extra uptick. We already have the good genetics. And this just takes us into the next stratosphere. Because now we're using not only what we've got coded, but what the body itself, in general, is coded for, not even your own specific genetics. Okay, I'm just talking through. Now, is this the hardest exercise in the world? No. Is me talking to you taking away from some of my efficacy of making this harder? Possible. But you see me looking, pressing in, reminding myself where I want to feel this. And what I'll actually do on the next set is I'll be quiet, I'll listen to my body, and I'll say, okay, well, what is it telling me that it's trying to do? Should I allow it to do it? Excuse me. Or should I override it and correct it a little bit? Now, even as I got into that other side, I was kind of noticing there's a little bit extra twisting motion than necessary, which truly means that I'm actually not driving off of the ground as much as I need to, and the band is winning the battle, and I'm twisting. So let me see. Let me just be quiet on this side, and let's see what my body tells me. See if the camera picks up anything. Well, my body told me that I put the right tension on it. Okay, initially my body first told me that my shoulder rolled forward. So let me just correct that going forward and see if it tells me anything else. My body tells me when you put more of your focus into it, it has to work harder. And we're just going to do one more after this. It just basically is that thing. I noticed the ground up power especially. When I had laughed, I lost a little bit of that driving force from the ground. And maybe a little weaker. Let's just finish up on this side. And we'll call the accessory done for today. Who knows though, maybe I come back in here later and I decided, you know what, maybe I need a little extra bicep work, maybe I'll leave a little extra tricep. But let's be quiet here. Same thing, it's rolling forward a little bit, so exactly that. There you go. Now once again, that's the cool thing. So I mentioned earlier, the muscle will only, or the resistance can only be affected by the muscle in the direct line of pull. So the minute that I acknowledged that I was kind of rolling over, I started taking it out of these more top fibers, even though they're connected to the center of the sternal notch. I went a little bit more to those lower sternal notch fibers, which in all honesty, me personally, I'm looking to develop a little bit more of that musculature down there, having felt like as though I've really gotten a much better grasp of the broad part of the pectoral muscle. I want a little bit more of that three-dimensional bulge slide at the bottom. Not too much, not past its function. I don't think the biceps are the most important, or the pecs are the most important muscle in the body, especially for me having grown up literally doing only bench presses. But it's a confidence muscle. It's something that in particular, when it looks good, because it's directly in front of you, you project yourself better. More importantly, in terms of the look confidence muscles, I particularly love the feel confidence muscles. Those are the muscles that pull you back, that make you bigger, the posterior muscles. So in another video, you've seen me work out this, you've seen me work out the back. It all matters. The whole body matters. Don't just skip it to one. This may have been an accessory move, but I'm really looking to proliferate throughout the whole system and just try to create as much uniformity as possible without looking like one spot is the only spot that receives all the attention. Be talking soon.